All right, everybody, we're going to work through Unit 2, Lesson 9 today. We're going to skip part of it. This is one I would normally do with a whole class together. It's kind of a cool lesson, but we're going to skip sections. So we're going to talk about solving problems about proportional relationships, and we'll keep this quick and simple today. First part says, what do you want to know? So if I told you that a person is running at a distance, in a distance race at a constant rate, what time will they finish the race? Question says, what information would you need to be able to solve the problem? I want you to write down 2 or 3 things that you would need to know in order to be able to figure out what time they would finish the race. Okay, so write down 2 or 3 things for me, and then we'll go on to the next part of the lesson. And actually, this is the part we're going to skip, this lesson, Activity 9.2. This is a good one to work with a partner in class, but we're going to skip it. We just do not have time today. So we will skip. So we are going to do this this little activity 9.3. This is a really good one. I usually love to do this one in class with everybody. We don't have that opportunity this year. But there's a lot of good math within this problem. So you and I together will work through activity 9.3. So we're talking about a company is hiring people to read through all the comments posted on their website to make sure that they are appropriate. So that's literally a job. A company will hire someone to read through and make sure there's nothing negative being posted on the company website. If it's a company making like socks or something, and people start writing in about, these are the worst socks I've ever bought, other people can read those comments, and it kind of downgrades the company's reputation. So this is a job. It says 4 people have applied for the job, and those people were given 1 day to show how quickly they could check comments. And we're given 4 different situations here. What we're looking for is 2 things. We're looking for in terms of how many total comments they checked, and also how fast did they check those comments. So we're looking at those 2 things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little table. You know I love a table. We're looking for 2 things. So I'm going to do person 1, person 2, person 3, and person 4. And in the first one, I'm going to put, that's their, obviously their number. In the second column, sorry, I'm going to put their total comments red. And then in the last one, their speed, their rate of checking those comments. Okay, so we can figure out each of those things, and then our question here is to put them in order of how many they did and how fast they read them. So let's talk about person 1. Person 1, we know, worked for 210 minutes and checked a total of 50,000 comments. Well, we have our answer to this second column right there. We're told that person 1 read 50,000 comments. We want to know how many comments per minute did they read. Well, we know they read 50,000 comments in 210 minutes. So we can figure out how much they read per minute by dividing there. So do that out for me. 50,000 divided among those 210 minutes. Do that out for me and write that answer here. And then we'll talk about person 2. So person 2 worked for 200 minutes and checked 1,325 comments every 5 minutes. Okay, so we don't know exactly how many they have checked here. So let's see what we can think about. Person 2 worked for 200 minutes, and they're checking comments, a certain number of comments every 5 minutes. Well, we need to know how many groups of those 5 minutes fit inside that 200 minutes. If I divide that out, those 200 minutes divided by 5, I get 40 of those little groups of 5 minutes. So every 5 minutes, they're checking this many comments, and that happens 40 times. So in order to find out the total comments that they're going to read, I'm going to take that 40 and multiply it by 1,325. And that will give me their total comments read. Okay, so do that out for me. Put that answer here. And then what we need to do is, what's their speed? Well, let's see, the speed is the total comments that they read, so that number we just came up with, divided by the number of minutes that they worked, which would be the 200 minutes. So come up with that answer here. And again, this number and this number are the same. So this is a good calculator question. I don't know these numbers off the top of my head. So pause if you need to figure out those two numbers for me. And then the next one we'll do is person 3. And here's what we know about person 3. Person 3 worked for 120 minutes at a rate represented by, so this little equation, C equals 331 times T, where C is the number of comments and T is the time in minutes. So T is the time in minutes, and they've given us that number, right? Here's our number, 120 minutes. That's our time. We're going to put that in to our equation for T. So C, the number of comments, will equal 331 times 120. That will be our total number of comments. And we're going to put that right here. So whatever that is, 331 times 120. Do that out for me with your calc. Put that number there. And then the next thing we'll do is find out this person's speed. And again, we find the speed by total comments divided by time, and come up with their speed and put that here. Okay, so their total comments divided by that 120 and put their speed here. And that speed is in comments per minute, right? That's our unit, comments per minute. Okay, and then we have person 4. Person 4 is working for 150 minutes, and this is the hard one here. They've given us this kind of weird equation, at a rate represented by T equals 3 divided by 800C. So in this case, person 4 has worked for 150 minutes, and what we know is that that minutes is going to go into this equation for T. So I'm going to do where I have a little space down here. That 150 minutes is equal to 3 over 800 times C. Well, let's see. If that's the case, then this is C multiplied by 3 over 800. So to undo times 3 over 800, I'm going to divide by 3 over 800. So that's going to wipe that out. We do that because 3 over 800 divided by 3 over 800 is equal to 1. But if I did that on the right side, I'm also going to divide by 3 over 800 on the left side, sorry. So that my C will equal 150 divided by 3 over 800. And we have to stop and think here, how do we divide fractions? And you remember this from elementary school, right? Copy, switch, flip, keep, change, flip, multiply by the reciprocal, right? Multiply that out for me. So when we multiply fractions, you remember we multiply straight across, and then we divide. Or we could simplify first. We notice 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 150 50 times, so we can do that as well. Okay, multiply that out. That gives us the total number of comments for person 4. And then that number, person 4 worked for 150 minutes, so whatever that number was, divided by 150 would give us the number of comments, give you the speed, the number of comments per minute. All right, that was a lot of work. That was a really good question. I like that question a lot. I would like to be in class discussing it with you, but we can't do that this year. So here's what we're going to do now. Answer these for me. Order the people from greatest to least or least to greatest in terms of total number of comments checked. So that would be this column. Then order the people from least to greatest in terms of how fast they check the job or check the comments. And again, I always do least to greatest. This says greatest to least. Just label them, okay? Here's my question for you. Which one would you hire? Which one would you hire? Write that down for me over in the side here. Tell me which one you would hire and why. Okay, and there's different answers. You could make a different conclusion than somebody else, and that's okay. All right, and that's about it. We're almost finished. We're just going to read through the lesson summary and be done today. And highlight this along with me. Whenever we have a situation involving constant rates, we are likely to have a proportional relationship. So that idea involving constant rates. When a bird is flying at a constant speed, there's a proportional relationship between flying time and distance flown. If water is filling a tub at a constant rate, there is a proportional relationship between the amount of water and the time the tub has been filling up. If an aardvark is eating termites at a constant rate, there's a proportional relationship between the number of termites he's eaten and the time since it started. Sometimes we are presented with a situation and it's not clear whether a proportional relationship is a good model. How can we decide if this is a good representation of a particular situation? And it says, if you aren't sure where to start, look at the quotients of the corresponding values. So we're dividing, remember, the left or the right divided by the left. If they're not always the same, then the relationship is definitely not a proportional relationship. If we can see that there's a single value that we always multiply one quantity by to get the other quantity, it is definitely a proportional relationship. And then it says, after establishing that it's a proportional relationship, setting up the equation is often the most efficient way to solve the problem. Okay? So setting up that equation and using the equation to solve problems. And that's it for today, guys. We're going to work on the practice problems at the end of lesson 9. And tomorrow we'll do lesson 10. And then it's the weekend. All right? Take care. Bye-bye.